Gloria Patri et Filium et Spiritui Sancto, sic ut erat in principio et nunc et semper, et in saecula saeculorum. Amen. Dum clamarem ad Dominum exaudit vocem meam, abis quia propinquam mihi, et humiliabit Deus, qui est ante saecula, et manet in aeternum. Iacta cogitatum tuum in Domino, et ipse te There was a time when he was not maintained the Arians with regard to the Lord, denying thereby the fullness of the divinity, denying the completeness of the incarnation, denying Christology as we know it. It was not enough either to have a form referred to as semi-Arianism, favoured by the empire at a crucial time, for church and state in the East were uncomfortably closely linked at one point. They wanted the solution of a similar nature, homoiousios, and not homoousios, consubstantial, the same essence, and it needed the Spirit-guided counsels of the Church to sort out the dilemma. And so what we have is not a chum. What we have when we come to the altar is not a mate, and certainly not a toy to be played with. We are drawing close to the burning bush, and we shed all that is not worthy. We come with nothing at all. Years ago, at the age of 13, through divine providence, I was brought into contact with the Eastern Orthodox liturgy. It was through our good Sunday school teacher who wanted us to be exposed to all that was part of our heritage. And this broad-minded, good, very intellectual and very kind Sunday school teacher wanted us to see the places of our own origin with regard to the revivals of Wales, but also the ancient roots of Christianity. And he took us in to the Eastern Orthodox Church in the docks area of Cardiff, and wow! One was hit between the eyes by an otherness that one had never experienced before. It was an encounter with the real presence, and one felt more than just dense smoke in the air. He was there. He was Lord. And here the dynamics were quite different. We were used to going into chapel and being confronted essentially with the central and very large and dominating pulpit area, where the personality of the preacher, for better or for worse, was dominant. A good preacher and a good mystagogue, one could say, able to guide in prayer, was genuinely a means of grace for his people and brought us to God. but a lot depended on his personality and his own relationship with the Lord. It was also favoured greatly by his good Welsh and his human gifts. But there it stopped. Here was something else. Indeed, at certain points, the celebrant himself became invisible. He was behind the holy doors, leaving us just naked in front of the burning bush. And so, out of curiosity, I investigated more of what was nearer at hand, for the Roman Catholic Church was more available. And there also, still in the late 60s, the High Mass was celebrated. And that same wow factor came into it. This was not man. And again there was a certain disappearance on the part of the celebrant. And I remember how when he chanted Oremus, he would turn not towards us, but towards the large crucifix and the 3 candles and the tabernacle. And it was therefore genuinely a mystagogical experience. He was leading the people into something else, towards the burning bush. It was not his personality that dominated. And although it was slightly uncomfortable for an evangelical Baptist, it was nevertheless something which, without noise, somehow rang home. This is more ancient than where you're coming from. In our day, we seem to admire some of the success elements in some of the spectacular Protestant forms of worship, and we ape them, not succeeding in being either good Catholics or good Protestants, and succeeding mainly in losing blessings and graces, for the Lord is not honoured outside his will, and that humility is to be found in the soul that calmly follows the rubrics and lets them do it for him. The itch to perform and to invent, to have an idea that no one ever had before, is a participation in the sin of Lucifer. He would not disappear. He would not simply obey. He had gifts and he wanted to own them. So too, to want to be seen in the house of God, even in another ministry, too much, is in some way to itch, to be in the limelight, and to use the podium of the church as a stage. Worship is about recognizing the worth of, and he alone is to be valued. We need not be seen. And if a choir wants to be heard so much that it draws applause, then it can have its applause, but it receives little blessing with regard to the purity of the worship. How great I am, sing we in church, without realizing it. So let's get this straight. If we are coming to the burning bush, we need to look at something beyond the human. Otherwise, we're using Christ just as a mate, having a good time, scratching each other and patting each other on the back. He is Lord means just that. Let us disappear before the throne and before the judge, before whom one day we will answer for all the graces we deflected and all the graces that we deprived other souls of by wanting to be visible and audible. Kanan Claunior eara dir amor, Roderitiva Thormoliant, Sanctae the Sanctae the Sanctae the Virda neva chuidar harmoniant, Eucharetim dearvit, Sanctae, Sanctae, Sanctae the Mirant, Viva the Nerdinit, Claunior nemoidos agoniant, Claunior eara dir amor, Roderitiva Thormoliant, Sanctae, Sanctae, Sanctae the Lord. Gidare seraf corivani, Gidare glois lanina, Ina launen hinigani, Alpen cloden hargloi the maur, Claunior nemoidos agoniant, Claunior eara dir amor, Roderiti Thormoliant, Sanctae, Sanctae, Sanctae the Lord. Blessed Michael the Archangel, defend us in the hour of conflict. Be our safeguard against the wickedness and snares of the devil. May God restrain him, we humbly pray. And do thou, O Prince of the heavenly host, by the power of God, thrust Satan down to hell, and with him all the evil spirits who wander through the world for the ruin of souls.